Adequate notice of the September 12, 2024 meeting of the Township Committee has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by posting written notice and agenda of the meeting on the bulletin board in the Municipal Building, 1000 Route 10, Township of Hanover, and by hand-delivering, mailing, or faxing such notice to the following newspapers: Morris County Daily Record, the Star Ledger, Hanover Eagle, and by filing the scene with the Township Clerk.
Roll call. Committeeman Cahill is excused this evening. Committeeman Faramosca.
Here.
Committeeman Francioli.
Here.
Committeeman Mahalko.
Here.
Mayor Gallagher.
Here.
4 members in attendance.
Okay, tonight is a very special night in Hanover Township, and it's a very special night for Hanover Township PD and some new officers we're bringing on board. So for the Pledge of Allegiance, I would like to ask our Chief, Mike Locke, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then please remain standing for Deputy Mayor Mike Mahalko to lead us in our prayer. Chief?
You can rise, please. Face the flag with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, please watch over and guide this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding to help make the best decisions for our residents. Please bless our first responders and township volunteers who help keep us all safe. Also bless our township employees and residents. Lastly, please let us pray for the men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces who stand vigil over us always. Amen.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for the 23rd anniversary of all those that perished in September 11, 2001, their families, and all those that were affected in its aftermath. Thank you.
Be the line. Come on up. So while our clerk is getting everything ready, I'm just going to read a little something about Stephen. So Stephen graduated from Walkill Valley Regional High School, where he played football, hockey, and track. He then attended the College of New Jersey, where he played football and was a member of the National Criminal Justice Honor Society. After graduating with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, Stephen had several jobs while also completing the hiring process for our department. Stephen was hired on January 1st and then attended the Morris County Public Safety Training Academy. Upon his graduation from the academy, Stephen completed the department's field training program and has been approved for solo patrol since then. When not working, Stephen enjoys spending time exploring different parts of the Jersey Shore. You want to come on up? We're going to hold the Bible for you.
I state your name. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution. Of the United States. And the state of New Jersey. And that I will bear true faith and allegiance. To the same. And to the governments established. In the United States. And in this state. Under the authority of the people. And that I will faithfully. Impartially. And justly perform. All the duties. Of office of police officer. For the Township of Hanover. According to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Patrick, you're next. So again, while we're getting ready here, I'm just going to read a little something about Patrick. So Patrick graduated from Whippany Park High School and later enrolled at Seton Hall University before joining the United States Army. While serving, Patrick completed the Army School of Infantry, Ranger Assessment Selection Program, and Airborne School. Before being discharged, Patrick served with the 1st Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment. Patrick was hired on January 1st and then attended the Morris County Public Safety Training Academy. Upon his graduation from the academy, Patrick completed the department's field training program and has been approved for solo patrol since then. So Patrick is a lifelong Hanover resident and has also served with the Cedar Knolls First Aid Squad. So for him, I think learning the town has been a little bit easier than Stephen and Michael, but it's a good coming home for him. So congratulations.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in the state under the authority of the people, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the office of police officer to the Township of Hanover according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
Congratulations, officer. God bless you. Welcome aboard. Congratulations.
All right, one more tonight, Michael. So Michael Kaiser graduated from Morris Knolls High School where he participated in football, wrestling, and baseball. After that, Michael attended Penn State University and earned a bachelor's degree in criminology with a minor in psychology. During his time there, Michael served as the president of his fraternity and also participated as a student volunteer for the United States Department of Homeland Security. Michael was hired on January 1st and attended the Morris County Public Safety Training Academy. Upon his graduation from the academy, Michael completed the department's field training program and has been approved for solo patrol ever since. Even though Michael has not grown up in Hanover, there's been a little part of him working in Hanover for many years now. So I think for him, a lot of people know his name, and it's somewhat coming home because he's had the presence at the high school with his dad. So, Michael, congratulations.
I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the office of police officer to the Township of Hanover according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations and welcome. Hey, congratulations. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Picture with all three of our guys.
Let's do a picture. What? We're going to do a picture. Oh, picture.
Right in the middle. Right in the middle. Three of you guys.
Christie, you got to jump in this. Big part of this. I did.
Remember, I got wide angles and stuff. Beautiful.
Anybody wires?
Shorthand tonight, can't lose anybody. Good job, Chief. Well done.
I turned it on. I had no idea.
You ready?
Chris, I'll give Ron a good intro.
Quickly settle down.
What's really exciting? No, we have, with everyone in, 36.
36. That's it.
Jerry, after the meeting, we need to talk about the issue on Crescent.
So nice. You ready? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special presentation tonight which we believe is very, very important and more so lately. Being involved in town, there's a lot of questions that a lot of people ask us, and more lately, people ask us about the Morristown Airport. I can't tell you how many times I'm on a property and people say how wonderful it is, how much they love it, how much they love the planes. Then 2 houses down, they'll tell me, these planes almost hit my trees. What is going on with that flight pattern? What's going on down at... So we always call Ron. Ron's a pilot. Ron has been the liaison to the Morristown Airport for a very long time. Ron probably knows more about the Morristown Airport than anybody I've ever met in my life. So we asked Ron over the summer to start to think about making a presentation to the public regarding everything that's going on in the airport in as short amount of time as possible. And we look at about 15 minutes. Ron, if you go longer, you go longer. The benefit of this, too, is we record it, so it's going to be available for everybody to watch in their homes, and we will make a specific clip called the Hanover Township Airport, Ronald Franciola. Because this is important, it's going to get a lot of views. And if you go to that in a month or two, and you look at the amount of views, it's going to be quite a few. People are very interested in the airport, and they love the airport. But there's a lot we have to learn and understand. So Ron, if you could take the floor.
Well, thank you. I'm going
Take it
to
away.
ask our guest who's with us today from Morristown Airport to join us. Chris, why don't you come up and take a seat here by this microphone? And as we go through this, and as I explain much about the airport and its relationship to municipal, you'll keep me honest, okay? Morristown Airport, you're going to see on these slides as we go through. You have the, who's got the...
I do, I'm sorry.
You got it? All right, we're gonna go through the, oh, that's, all right, we're gonna read from this. All right, Morristown Airport is a national reliever airport. And Morristown Airport is probably one of the largest property owners here in Hanover Township. The airport has over 625 acres within Hanover Township, but it's unique. It's unique in that the airport is owned by Morristown. but it has its base in the meets and bounds of Hanover Township, but then it's run by DM Airport developers who manage the airport and have done, by the way, a successful job over the years. Morristown Airport began in 1943 to train Army Air Flyers and opened to the public in 1945, from what we understand. The airport is a business airport. Unlike Newark Airport or Kennedy or LaGuardia, etc., which is a passenger type of airport, this is a business airport, and like Teterboro is a business airport, but it's the second largest airport next to Teterboro in flight operations and flight service, all right, if we can say that. Morristown Airport has within its meets and bounds an international U.S. Customs and Border Patrol facility, so aircraft landing in Hanover and landing at the airport must clear that customs when they come in. They have to make reservations and appointments, I think, when we do come in on that. It is supported by what's known as FBOs, flight-based operations. Flight-based operations on the field provide fuel, provide maintenance, and provide other amenities, foods, etc., to support all the airport operations. Signature Flight Support is one of the largest down there right now, along with Atlantic Aviation, and they are the FBOs for that airport area. Right now, Morristown Airport ranks in the top 200 of 3,310 identified airports, which is impressive in itself. Okay, statistically, see if we can read here. All right, the statistics that we have here now, total flight operations from January to June of this year have been 57,583. What does that mean? That means every time an aircraft touches its wheels down, that is known as a complete flight operation, and that's what we're recording here. In that regard, average annual flight operations in 2023 were 95,637 flight operations. Now, everybody's going to raise their eyebrows and say, wow, what the hell is happening? That's that's a heck of a lot of activity. But I'm going to tell you about how the airport manages that, and how it manages noise abatement, and how it controls aircraft flights in the area. We have 181 aircraft based at Hanover, at Morristown Airport. That's general aviation aircraft. Is that inclusive of general aviation, or is that just your corporate? So we have general aviation and corporate, so the 181 is the total amount of aircraft there. What is the economic benefit of Morristown Airport to Hanover and the county? And when we look at it, it's estimated that $187 million of total output spending into the community and into the county, which is an impressive amount of money, certainly from that standpoint. It employs 60 plus jobs, from air traffic controllers to ground management, administration, etc. It serves Morris County's commerce as well as the state. Municipal taxes paid to us here in Hanover Township in 2023 amounts to $376,827.00. Right. So that number represents all of the hangar properties that are within the airport that individually pay their taxes, as well as administration pays its taxes. So that's the Honeywells and everyone else that we have as a corporate airport. And by the way, we should know that many of the large corporates do have their headquarters or their aircraft at Morristown Airport, which is a great amenity for Morris County, and certainly we're proud of it here in Hanover Township. They have flight training, we know that. Flight training schools, there are several of them there, and as well as corporate tenants and general aviation pilots and operations. Let's go to general aviation activities for the next one. We passed economic, let's go past that. There you go. All right, under general aviation activities, what does Morristown Municipal Airport provide? Medical, healthcare, logistics, daily flights in and out of the airport, humanitarian flights in and out of the airport, shelter animal relocations in and out of the airport, military and state police support, natural disaster relief flights, and educational initiatives. Okay. They've been doing a lot of improvements out at the airport. By the way, since I began flying with Morristown Airport, I don't want to tell you how long ago that was, but both Ken Schleifer, who was a member of our township committee, and myself flew actively out of the airport, continued to fly actively out of the airport. Ken handled an instrument license. I have an instrument license, and I'm rated for twin and multiple gear. Not anymore. The airport improvements, as we looked at them, let's see, generally they should have medical, let's change that slide. Okay, let's go to the next. No? Here we go. The improvements. There's been a lot going on, and you probably are aware of it because of the phone calls we get about flights over your houses and what's going on down at the airport. The largest runways down at that airport are runways 5 and 2-3. They have been part of a rehabilitation project. And part of that project is new drainage, lighting improvements, safety area, and guidance systems. Are you going to microsystems yet, or are we still on conventional ILS approach?
Yes, correct, yeah. And this
Still
is just conventional
conventional?
ILS,
Okay.
yeah. And they're all, it's all just upgrades to the current.
Are you
ones, yeah.
moving toward that end?
Not that I'm aware of right now, not as part of this phase of construction. And this is all just, like you mentioned,
That,
rehabilitation project.
the guidance systems coming into the airport for pilots is, in my opinion, it's absolutely top-notch. It's absolutely phenomenal the way it is. The drainage culvert that was done most recently over there was a replacement of a drainage culvert that goes back to the 30s.
Yeah, as far as we could tell, the original drainage culvert that
Yeah.
was put in, yeah, so that
And
was
when
it.
that happened, when these runways are affected by that, they're closed. And if they're closed, the benefit of Morristown Airport is they have runways for 4 directional approaches to the airport. And so that airport management can change the direction of flight for the safety of pilots, safety of the community, to get the work done. 900 feet of 72-inch box concrete culvert were installed in 5 of 2, 3, of May, this past May?
Last year was
Last year,
in
May.
the July timeframe.
Last
July,
year,
August
May.
timeframe.
Medium intensity runway approach light systems and runway and identifier lights have all been part of that improvement. Let's talk about, let's give these guys a little bit of flight training 101, okay? Let's go to the next slide. All right? How's that look to you guys? All right, that's like tic-tac-toe, right?
Yeah, sure is.
All right. Let's look at Morristown Airport for a second. They have approaches for 523, which is a 6,000-foot runway. They have approaches for 1331, which is a 4,000-foot runway. And how does that all work? And many people think the aircraft come in and finally they look at an airport and they just land an airplane. Gee, isn't that simple? Well, there's a pattern to coming into Morristown Airport as there's a pattern coming into any airport. So if I wanted you to understand how aircraft works and why some of these aircraft are flying over our residential areas, etc. A pilot approaching an airport announces his intentions before he gets into the airport area. Usually he's using the Booton Reservoir as a point of departure from there. From the Booton Reservoir in, he announces his intention and he gets clearance into the airport. He doesn't just come to the runway and land the airplane. It doesn't happen that way. He has to enter into what's called a downwind. So if you look at the pattern that you see there, those are the airports that are crossing each other. Each side of those long lines, right, has a downwind pattern and an upwind pattern. So if you hold your hand up and you say that's the runway, and I draw a box around that, that's the pattern left. If I draw a box to the other side, that's the pattern right. So you're going to hear the tower say to you that you're cleared to enter the downwind pattern, the left downwind for the runway. They announce the runway. They fly the downwind to a safe altitude, usually it's 1,200 feet. And normally a house in our area sits at 100, the airport sits at 197, usually a house around our area probably sits around 300 feet. So you could figure the clearance between you and that airplane is about 1,000 feet. All right, then you fly the downwind, then you fly what's known as a base, which is a left turn into the runway, then you fly a final, if he lets you have a final, and then you land your airplane, okay? That's how a pattern works. Now, you may give you the left side of the box, he may give you the right side of the box, depending on how much traffic. Airport is controlled by a tower that's there. What are we closing down now at what time at night?
Air traffic control is from 6:45 in the morning until 10:30 at night.
10:30 at night, so everybody says, well, what happens? Everybody goes home and the airport closes? Airports don't close. All right, what happens when a pilot lands after 10:30 at Morristown Airport is he announces his intentions in the blind for the safety of all the folks around him in the neighborhoods and the safety of the airport. Announcing your intention in the blind says, hey, this is Ron Francioli, this is my aircraft, 17142. I'm approaching 5 miles out, I'm coming in for a downwind on left, downwind and final on 23, okay? And then he may not get his clearance, but what he's doing is, by opening his radio and making this announcement in the blind, is he's telling every airplane in the area who he is, where he is, and what he's going to do. That's called intentions in the blind. So it's a safe way for the aircraft to come in, and that's what they're using right now. The diagram I'm showing you here, now I think I have one. If we go further, is there a residential, okay. Here's one that we should all be aware of. Okay, this is residential patterns over our homes, okay. We do try to control this with noise abatement procedures. On Hanover Township and Morristown Airport, over the years, have worked cooperatively together to work with the FAA and with the Department of Airports, right, is the other. If you're on the ground, I'm who? I'm Department of Airports. If I'm in the air, I'm FAA.
There's a
My
ground.
wheels are an
yeah.
inch off the ground, I'm FAA.
Correct.
Okay.
As soon as you leave the pavement, yeah.
That being said, we have successfully, as Hanover, gotten many changes in the traffic pattern over the years with helicopters, etc., in order to afford our neighbors more of a quiet and less disturbed situation, living with an airport in our meets and bounds. And we've been very successful about that. But there's been some other changes that affect us here in Hanover and here at the airport. And that is over the years, and we go back to when Hanover used to have toe-to-toe fights at the airport, they had jets known as Stage 3 jets. Stage 3 jets flying over your house will take the roof off your house in their noise. Over the years, that transitioned over to Stage 2 jets, which are quite a bit different. Now, Stage 3 jets, I think you're only allowed 10% of them in.
I don't believe that anything outside of Stage 3 is allowed.
You close down altogether?
Yeah.
All right. And now we're working with Stage 1. Stage 1 I'm going to describe as a whisper jet. All right, it's the most quiet jet you have down there. Occasionally we've had issues down at the airport and people think it's part of the Algonquin pipeline blowing up. What airports do, what aircraft do before taking off is known as a run-up. Why would you do a run-up? Well, you want to make sure that the prop is turning the right way, and you better have all your gauges working, and you better hope your magnetic direction is right. So they do a run-up at a certain area of a blast pad at the airport. Now, for those that are non-turbine, which are regular reciprocal engines, it's a quiet thing. For jets, they do have to do a run-up. They run up against the blast pads, which have been doing a successful job of keeping the noise down before they then get clearance to depart the runways, and that's it. And finally, on runways, let me give you an idea how this works. If I'm approaching a runway and somebody clears me for runway 23, what did they just do? I look at my compass, my heading, and my heading when I finally land at that airport is going to be 230 on the compass heading. Compass is right up in front of me. Every airport has a number to the runway. The number could be 13, add a 0. Number could be 6, add a 0. number could be 23, add a 0. To the pilot, that means one thing. That's my compass heading to land this aircraft, and that's what I'm cleared for. So when we do that, if you see the red lines that I'm showing you here, and then you see the black lines, which are the runway, you'll get an understanding of how the traffic pattern is flying over our residential areas. You see Longview, you see areas of Whippany Road, and that's the downwind to certain runways as you see them coming into 13 there. Every one of those entries to any one of those runways, you'll see a red pattern which says that's the way the aircraft must come in before it lands. I think we're working with Morristown, trying to do our best to control noise in the area. I think one of the main things is that we do get immediate notification from Morristown that we put on our own website every time there's a change at the airport that will affect the residential areas. Whether it's a runway repair, whether it's an incident on the airport, anything at all that's going to have airport management change the direction of that pattern that affects neighbors, you're going to hear about it. We're going to hear about it. It's going to be on our website, so you'll learn more about it. But in the meantime, I say, Mr. Mayor, the collaboration between Morristown Airport and Hanover Township has never been better. They're doing a fantastic job down there. I invite every single one of us. Matter of fact, I think we're trying to get together for a little tour down there where our fellow council people here can see the airport, see what's going on, and get a better understanding of it there. So it's great. Well, thanks, Corey, for all you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Sean.
That was fantastic, thank you. Does anyone have any questions from the dais? Does anyone from the public have any questions for Ron or Corey?
Well, you all get your plastic wings.
Rob, before we move on, I would like you to take this piece of the airport explanation and make it independent, in addition to part of the meeting. Thank you very much, sir. Ron, thank you.
Good job, Ron. Well done. Course on flying planes. Course on flying planes.
You got flying on one. I paid for that.
Thank God you were here tonight. You told me, oh, you might have to present this. I couldn't have done that. No way.
You guys good?
Yep, oh yeah, waiting on you.
Okay.
Come on, Krista.
Hello. Okay, the first item on this portion of the agenda is a letter from David White retiring from the Hanover Police Department after serving Hanover Township for 28 years. The effective date of his retirement will be January 31st, 2025. May I please have a motion to accept his retirement?
So moved.
May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
So approved. Next is the approval of the Township Committee meeting minutes of August 1st, 2024. May I please have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So approved. Next on the agenda, we have the public hearing and adoption of 4 ordinances. Ordinance numbers 21, 2024, 22, 2024, 23, 2024, and 24, 2024. Proof of publication that all 4 ordinances and the notice of introductions appeared in full in the August 14, 2024 issue of the Daily Record in accordance with law. At this time, may I have a motion to convene the public hearing on ordinances numbers 21, 22, 23, and 24?
So moved.
Second.
Is there anyone in chambers wishing to be heard concerning any of these ordinances? If so, please state your name and address for the record, and which ordinance you'd like to speak regarding.
Motion closed.
Second?
Next, may I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 21, 2024, 22, 2024, 23, 2024, and 24, 2024?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On roll call, Committeeman Faramasca.
Aye.
Committeeman Francioli.
Aye.
Committeeman Mahalko.
Yes.
And Mayor Gallagher.
Aye.
So adopted. Next, we have two ordinances for introduction. I'd like to read each title into the record, but please note there was a change in Ordinance 26, 2024. In the title and a portion of the body of the ordinance, it stated the sum of the project would be $50,000. However, it should read $60,000, 60000. This change is reflected in the original document. So ordinance 25-2024 is an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover, the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, authorizing the purchase and installation of partitions and privacy screens and creating dressing compartments for the men's and women's shower stalls at the Bee Meadow Swimming Pool facility, and further appropriating the sum of $35,000 from the Swimming Pool Enterprise Fund, capital account for 2024 and all years prior for financing of that project. Ordinance number 26-2024, an ordinance of the Township Committee, Township of Hanover, authorizing the resurfacing of a portion of Crescent Drive from Hans Drive to its terminus in the Whippany section of Township and appropriating the sum of $60,000 from the unallocated portion of the Township's 2024 Capital Improvement Fund and all prior years for the financing of the project. I'd like to state for the record that the ordinances and their notice of introduction will be published in full in the Daily Record in accordance with law. The public hearing will be scheduled for October 10th at 8 p.m. If any member of the public would like to speak regarding those ordinances, they will be given the opportunity to do so that evening. May I please have a motion to introduce ordinance number 25-2024 and 26-2024?
Make a motion.
May I have a second? On roll call, Committeeman Farah Mosca.
Aye.
Committeeman Francioli.
Aye.
Committeeman Mahalko.
Yes.
And Mayor Gallagher.
Aye.
So introduced. It's so weird to hear you all on one side. I'm not used to that. Our next order of business is the review of a proposed structural reorganization of the Township's engineering department, including a reduction in force. Joe, would you have a comment to say?
Yes, thank you, Krista, and thank you, Township Committee members and members of the public. With regard to the following comments, I would like to add into the record concerning the proposed structural reorganization of the engineering department, and also includes a reduction in force. There is no question that perhaps the engineering department is the single most important department in the township, in that a great deal of responsibility is placed on the department to prepare plans, drawings, and specifications in the implementation of capital projects involving infrastructure improvements, public works, and recreation projects, as well as the maintenance and repair of municipal facilities, such as the municipal building and community center, just to name two. The operational performance of the department is key. I'm not speaking about the job performance of any single member of the department, but rather the ability of the department to work as a unit in performing its tasks and responsibilities. It comes as no surprise that the ability to initiate and implement multiple projects at the same time has been an obstacle in delivering projects to meet the expectations of the Township Committee and the public. In this regard, Committeeman Farah, as the director of the engineering department, requested that the township engineer and I conduct an assessment of how best to optimize the performance of the department in order to meet its goals and objectives in expediting the completion of backlogged projects and new projects. In view of the heavy workload placed on the members of the engineering department and the need for specific expertise in unique areas of engineering specialization that vary from project to project, it became evident that a workable solution would be expanding the outsourcing of projects through Collier's Engineering and Design, which currently works with the department on several key projects. Collier's is a nationwide firm that employs a wide range of professionals with multiple disciplines covering civil and mechanical engineering, architecture, planning, and surveying, just to mention a few. The expectation and intent of administration is to significantly reduce the lag time between planning and the actual implementation of a project, thereby effectively saving the township time, effort, and taxpayer dollars, all in the public interest. Therefore, the township engineer and I make the following recommendations for consideration by the governing body. 1, consistent with the township committee's intention that capital and other engineering projects are started and completed in timely fashion, we recommend the outsourcing of additional projects to Collier Engineers and Design and other professional consultants on a per project basis, subject to the availability of sufficient funds. And 2, with the continued and increased outsourcing of projects, the township engineer and I recommend a structural reorganization of the engineering department by recommending, for reasons of economy and efficiency, a reduction in force with the permanent separation of the least senior junior engineer from employment with the township. We recommend the separation of the least senior junior engineer because inverse seniority is the recognized standard in both the private and public sector, because it is a neutral, objective standard, and because it is consistent with the procedure the township followed in previous reductions in force. In order to effectuate these recommendations, I am proposing that the governing body approve a resolution authorizing the structural reorganization of the engineering department, including a reduction in force. In the interest of full disclosure and transparency, because this is an important matter for the Township Committee to consider, I would like to read the following resolution into the record so that you, as the decision makers and the public, are fully aware of the actions recommended by the township engineer and myself. And in this regard, Mr. Giorgio, would you please provide me with a resolution number for what I'm about to enter into the record?
Sure. 164, resolution number 164-2024.
Okay. So, members of the Township Committee, this is the proposed resolution for your consideration. It's a resolution of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover approving the structural reorganization of the Township's engineering department, including a reduction in force. Whereas the business administrator and township engineer have performed an assessment of the needs of the engineering department in managing capital improvement projects, including but not limited to projects involving public works and recreation that require personnel who have specializations in various fields, such as civil and mechanical engineering and architecture, to name a few, and who have demonstrated knowledge, skills, experience, and expertise. And whereas the operational needs of the engineering department to prepare project documents, specifications, and other related and relevant items have placed constraints on the department's ability to react effectively and efficiently and respond to growing municipal demands in a productive and expeditious fashion, resulting in such projects being completed behind schedule and taking an inordinate amount of time to complete. And whereas, in view of the heavy workload placed on the members of the engineering department and their limited capabilities in certain fields of engineering specialization, the Township Committee seeks to optimize performance by outsourcing various projects, by retaining the services of professional consultants who possess the required specialized knowledge and experience. And whereas the Township currently has an existing relationship with Colliers Engineering and Design, hereinafter referred to as Colliers, a company with multiple disciplines, which firm the engineering department has utilized to assist in the review, processing, and completion of various engineering projects on an as-needed per-project basis. And whereas Colliers possesses both the staffing and specialized knowledge and experience to review, process, and complete multiple projects in a timely manner. And whereas the expectation and intent of the township is to significantly reduce the lag time between planning and the actual implementation of a project, thereby effectively saving the township time, money, and effort, all in the public interest. And whereas, consistent with this intention, the business administrator and township engineer have recommended that the backlog and delay in the completion of required municipal engineering projects can best be addressed by expanding the township's utilization of Colliers. And whereas the Township Committee has considered the recommendation of the business administrator and township engineer, and agrees that the outsourcing of municipal engineering projects to Colliers is in the public interest and will address the delay and backlog in the completion of necessary capital and other municipal projects to the benefits of the residents and taxpayers of the township. And whereas the business administrator and township engineer have advised the governing body that the increased outsourcing of projects to Colliers requires that a structural reorganization of the engineering department, resulting in the redundancy of one junior engineer position, and recommend that the Township Committee institute a reduction in force for reasons of economy and efficiency of one junior engineer position, and further recommend that the reduction in force be implemented on the basis of inverse seniority. And whereas this reduction in force will help offset a portion of the costs to retain consultants, while at the same time maintaining internal control of strategic planning and management. And whereas the Township Committee has considered the recommendation of the business administrator and township engineer and agree that a reduction in force is warranted for reasons of economy and efficiency, and is therefore in the public interest, and further agrees that implementing said reduction in force by way of inverse seniority is a fair, objective method that is consistent with general business and governmental practice. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover and the County of Morris and State of New Jersey as follows. 1, in accordance with the Township's annual proposed capital improvement and infrastructure plan, as well as other projects that are deemed essential and assigned to the engineering department, including unforeseeable events requiring attention, the township engineer and/or the assistant township engineer are authorized and directed to outsource and retain the services of Colliers Engineering and Design and any other professional consultants to assist the engineering department in expediting the management coordination, and implementation of projects in timely fashion. The outsourcing of professional consultants shall continue to be on a per-project basis and be subject to the appropriation and availability of sufficient funds in any township calendar year budget. 2, in keeping with the township's fiscal and financial management practices, the governing body further directs that the total authorized strength of the engineering department be reduced with the elimination of one junior engineer position, effective immediately, and that in keeping with standard business and personnel practices, that this reduction in force be accomplished by the permanent separation of the least senior junior engineer from employment. This reduction in force is necessary for efficiency and economy, and also in order to offset a portion of the cost to retain outside professional consultants. 3, upon adoption and approval of this resolution, the business administrator is authorized and directed to provide written notice to the least senior junior engineer employee that the township is implementing a reduction in force with the elimination of that person's position effective immediately. 4, the township engineer is directed to periodically conduct performance assessments of outsourced projects to make certain that all elements of the township's capital and other project activities are being fulfilled in accordance with the township's intent to complete projects without delay. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the proposed resolution for the record, and I thank you for the time and consideration.
Thank you, Joe. Would anyone like to make a comment from the governing body?
Yes, as Director of Engineering, I'd like to recognize the work of Mr. Giorgio, Mr. Messera, to develop a go-forward plan to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the engineering department. A little bit of background for my fellow committee members is that engineering, as you well know, is an important critical function within the municipal building. The engineering department supports a number of internal departments throughout the town, and they're a critical component in terms of designing roads, supporting buildings, parks, grounds throughout the campus. The question I challenged Mr. Giorgio and Mr. Messera with is, how do you optimize going forward, the engineering group, given the fact of an increasing number of projects, given the fact that there's a challenge to the timeliness, the delivery of projects, given the fact that the nature of projects are changing. And as a result of the nature of projects changing, what recommendations are you going to come back with that's going to position Hanover Township in a manner to be able to address these types of specialized engineering services? I think a good example of this, committee members, is the work that's gone on with the Whippany River. The Whippany River flood mitigation is a huge undertaking. It is very complicated in terms of all of the various elements to it. This flood mitigation work is involving and affecting not just our town, but 5 to 6 other towns. So we needed to bring in specialized resources to take that on. As a result of bringing in the specialized resources, that put Hanover Township in a position for us to make huge positive changes to the Whippany River and to address the flooding problems, the situations that many people, many businesses have been hurt for a number of years. So go forward, that's a huge project, required specialized services, it's being done. I think in addition to that as an illustration, I know that the deputy mayor, who has responsibility for recreation, can talk about the nature of the projects that he's trying to move forward and the challenges to deliver them within a cycle that potentially, right now, is very problematic because he cannot provide lead time to his group as to when things are going to get done.
Yeah, and with that, thank you, John. I'd like to make a point. Several years ago, just in case anybody's not sure, I'm Director of Recreation. I was tasked with really upgrading our fields, bringing them up to the 20th century at least. We have so many projects that were in the backlog. I sat down with one of the engineers and said, listen, what kind of a time frame are we working on, from start to finish to get projects done in-house? And I was told, again, a few years back, at minimum 3 years, which to me just sounded ridiculous. But again, most of it was, again, due to the backlog of projects that were coming on and waiting to be done. Now, through recreation, we kind of take the back seat because a lot of other projects leapfrog it due to importance. We kind of did a test this year. We had one project of turfing the infield for Blackbrook. We went out, we tried, we went with Colliers, talked with them, came up with a design, and coincidentally, we're actually, and this was in February, we are already going out to bid tomorrow. Completion should be within a year. So that's from start to finish. We can expedite this project, get it in and get it done. Another prime example was we just completed the turf field at Brickyard, which, due to the delays, cost us probably almost $1 million. Every year we put it off. Now, it's been put off for several different reasons, but a lot of the engineering delays, just to get this project to the finish line, every time we delayed getting a proposal together, getting it out, the price just kept going up exponentially. Had we been able to get this project in and done quickly, would have saved us a ton of money. And we would have been able to use this field years earlier. Fortunately, that field is now in progress and is going. That was a teamwork with interior and suburban engineering. But really just, these types of projects, we have another one coming up. You talk about specialty. The splash pad is going out to bid probably next week. But the aquatics that are required for that again, it's a lot of work and a lot of specialized work for that type of, so I think, again, that's another one that's important to go out to an outside firm to bring us in a timely time. Not that we can't do it, but the time to master that knowledge when you go to a firm that has thousands of employees and you can say, well, oh, they specialize in pools. Okay. They have that knowledge right there and can get it done quickly. So I think this is a good way to go.
Joe, I'd like to make one comment, and thank you guys for all the time you put into this. But when we talk about time and the amount of time these projects take, it's not because we're impatient, it's just because time is so valuable. And our youngsters' lives go so fast. And I'll give you a prime example. When I began on the Township Committee, they talked about a rock wall at the pool. It took 3 or 4 years to put that rock wall in. What I said more than once was, my children are going to be too old to enjoy this rock wall at the rate we're going. Guess what? My children never got to go to the rock wall because by the time it was installed, they didn't want to go anymore because they thought they were too old and too cool to go to the pool. So every sports season, every 6 months to a year, our children's lives go very, very fast. All they want and all we want is to get the projects done. And when I was younger, when I got my first 10-speed bike, the hardest part about getting a bike was getting the money to buy the bike. Sometimes we have the money and we can't get the product.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to thinking the hardest part of a project is getting the money, then implementing the program to put in the improvement. So I think this is fantastic, Joe. I think it's very, very good business, and I think our residents are going to benefit immensely. And I want to just touch on what John said about the Whippany Passaic Flood Remediation Task Force. Because of the work and the relationships we have, we've already received millions of dollars. We're working hand in hand with the USDA. I mean, this is big time, and the improvements are going to benefit our residents and our businesses. So that's all I'm going to say for today. I think the business model is very, very healthy, and I think it's about time.
So if the township committee, is in favor of this resolution, then we need a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to support the resolution.
Excuse me?
Get a motion on the floor. Open for comments? Does it get open for comments? No? Okay.
I'll make a motion to support this resolution. I think it's a good plan. It'll improve the efficiency and improve the effectiveness of the department.
I second it.
Okay.
And if I could just ask for the record, Mr. Giorgio, you explained so clearly about outsourcing. Would it be just one firm, or could it be other firms?
Now, as I said in my prepared remarks, it could be more than one firm. It's not just Collier's Engineers. We use Suburban Consulting, for example, and we've used other firms in the past. So it would be up to the township engineer to make a determination what firm best suits the needs of the department, what specializations they have, and he would make the recommendation whether it's Collier's, Suburban, or any other engineering firm that he feels has the experience, knowledge, and expertise.
So, and just so I make sure the record's clear, and you made it very clear to that, but, so you're asking, the recommendation is for the governing body, if they vote for this proposal, it means that you would be eliminating a position on staff,
That's correct.
and utilizing those funds to put that towards resources for outside consultants.
Yes, to help offset a portion of the cost.
Okay. Understood. Thanks.
Okay, so we had a motion, can I have a second?
Second.
On roll call, Committeeman Faramasca.
Aye.
Committeeman Francioli.
Aye.
Committeeman Mahalko.
Yes.
And Mayor Gallagher.
Aye.
So approved and added to the meeting minutes. Our next order of business is the approval of Resolutions 152-2024 through 163-2024 as a consent agenda. Does any member of the Township Committee have any questions regarding any of these items on the agenda?
No questions, but I'll have a comment about 163-2024 during my committee comment.
Okay. So may I have a motion to approve the resolutions as a consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolutions are so approved. Now we have to pay our bills in the amount of $7,070,110.01. May I please have a motion to pay our bills?
I'll make a motion
John,
that our
always pays.
CFO pays the bills in timely
John, make
fashion.
Silvio pay the bills. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bills will be paid, Silvio. Lastly, we have raffle applications for approval, RL 3450, American Legion, Post 155, pull tab, instant raffle, RL 3451, Whippany Park High School, PTO calendar raffle, RL 3452, Rotary Casino Night, and RL 3453, Rotary Tricky Tray. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
May I have a- All in favor?
Aye.
Raffles are so approved. Mayor Gallagher and members of the committee, that clears the agenda, and I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Krista. Great job. Okay, would anyone like to make any additional comments to our public? Starting with John.
Well, should we first, okay, yes, Mayor, I have a few comments here. Begin with engineering, and an update on the questions everybody's asking us. Paving plan, what's going on with the roads? Well, the good news is, the Cedar Knolls, Upper Cedar Knolls roads will be done week of 9/16, assuming that we do not incur any weather difficulties, so we'll get that done. In addition to the Upper Cedar Knolls roads, Gulick and Ridge and the Lucas section of town, they will be done. And lastly, very importantly, update on B Meadow Parkway. B Meadow Parkway, the concrete, the drainage, paving, concrete and drainage are done, and we plan to get the paving done by the end of the month of September. So good news as to where we are on the paving projects. From a planning standpoint, I want you all to think food, and I'm getting hungry now, so this is good. The planning board reviewed and approved 2 cases this week. One case is called David Allen's Marketplace. David Allen is a premier food marketplace, and they will be coming to the old Powerhouse Fitness Center, providing us with a new restaurant opportunity for families, as well as a catering facility for those special events. The second one will be innovation. We will be soon, the planning board reviewed and approved Chipotle, America's favorite quick-serve Mexican operation, will be coming soon to the old Molly Malone's location on Route 10. In addition, what's going on with Chimney Rock? Chimney Rock has been approved by planning. It's gone through all of the various meetings with buildings, and we look forward to construction at Chimney Rock real soon. I look forward to making a reservation there as well. From an environmental standpoint, Green Team. There's a big Shred Day event coming up on 9/21. It's from 9 to 12. So please, get all those old files that are clogging up the drawers in your house and your file cabinets, and for no cost, bring them out to the recreation parking area on 9/21 from 9 to 12, and that will be disposed of in a confidential manner. And as you're bringing that along to have your shredding items done for free, please consider donating some food products to the food pantry and supporting our police department's sneaker recycling program. In addition, from an environmental standpoint, and this is a good one to write down, make sure you have it, the County Hazardous Waste Day is 9/14. On 9/14, this Saturday, from 9 to 2 o'clock at 500 West Hanover Avenue, you can dispose of properly many things that you wonder of, what am I going to do with it? I've got old gasoline, what am I going to do with it? I've got old batteries that powered my power tools, what am I going to do with it? Bring it there, it'll cost you nothing. That's Saturday, this Saturday, 9/14 from 9 to 2. And lastly, a bit of recognition goes out to our Sewerage Authority. Our Sewerage Authority won an award called NACWA, N-A-C-W-A, the National Association of Water, for what they call the Platinum Award for 100% compliance of the Clean Water Act. This is for the 35th year. This is significant. This is the lead in terms of the United States, in terms of their production and their performance. So hats off to them. Mayor, that concludes my commentary.
Thank you very much, John. Ron?
Very few comments, Mr. Mayor. We're very, very pleased to announce that our Senior Citizens Club is growing in leaps and bounds. Under the new direction that we have for it, which is municipalized, it's no longer a private organization, it has grown to some 287 members, and going up from there as well. We want to thank Sierra and certainly Denise Brennan for just a wonderful job that they're doing as far as adding to the programs for the seniors themselves, all the seniors of our township. They're undertaking a survey shortly that will be mailed out or put on website for all of our seniors to take advantage of as far as their interests and what activities they would like to be involved with. So we invite you to watch our website, www.hanovertownship.com, the seniors area, if you're interested, and take part of the survey and hopefully join the club as well. So thank you for that.
Ron, thank you. Mike?
Actually, let me just keep going on the seniors. Yeah. Like you said, I just got the update, we had 100 new members. Wow! 100 new members. 110 new members as of today that have joined. So that puts us probably close to 300, if not over 300, because we were at around 200. But while we're talking about seniors, and they have a really neat program coming up. It's called Seniors Talk to Seniors. And Hanover Recreation is partnering with Whippany Park High School to match Whippany Park High School seniors with Hanover Township resident seniors to document the resident seniors' history, their stories.
That's cute.
Yeah, the collected stories will be a reflection and will be published and available to the public. So I thought it was a really great idea.
That's cute.
Our recreation department is coming up with so many different, I could go on and you guys would kill me, on all the stuff they have coming up. And a lot of them do have to involve seniors. Bus trips, they went to Windham Creek, they just went down to
Point Pleasant.
Point Pleasant.
Delicious Orchards.
Yeah, they had a bus trip down to Point Pleasant where they toured on the boardwalk and had lunch and then came back. Every Wednesday there's something going on. And if you're interested, got a day off, feeling like getting out of the house, and you're a senior, if you're not, come on down, go to the rec center. Around midday, there's always something going on, even if they're just playing games or watching a movie. There's always stuff going on. Hanover Township Day. You guys made it?
Big success.
Great success.
Huge success this year. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it again. I apologize. I got one more year. I'm going to have to miss it. I bring my daughter back to college that weekend. But it was record-breaking attendance again. We also wanted to thank Mr. Dick Kitchell for bringing his horse and his wagon out to give horse rides. He does a carriage rides. He does a fantastic job. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it last year because of the weather, but it was great to have him back this year. But again, a fantastic turnout. Beautiful day. They made the right call by postponing it, which was inconvenient, but that's life. That's the weather in New Jersey.
I think it was a record turnout.
Yeah, exactly. And so I want to thank everybody for coming out and pitching in. DPW did a terrific job. Recreation, as always, did an awesome job. And everybody works hand in hand together, and with the police department organizing, getting the crosswalks. Again, it was a really great event. There was also a game that they had played, and they submitted their names. So if you went to each table, got a stamp, they submitted it, and at the end, they pulled the winners. The winners got 2 tickets to the White Christmas Paper Mill Playhouse. Nice. Because there's a bus trip that we are having on December 10th. So if you're interested, you can sign up for that bus trip, going to Paper Mill Playhouse. Just a couple dates. Again, I can go on and on. Jersey Moy, they're going back to Paper Mill Playhouse on October 3rd. That bus trip is already sold out, so sorry about that. Mark your calendars, guys, though. Masquerade at Malapartis Park is on October 26th. All right, mark that down. We're already into the fall. 2 to 4 p.m. at, again, Malapartis Park, Memorial Junior School if it rains out. We also have our volunteer recognition reception. Mark again, that's November 21st, 6:30 to 9:30. And then Winter Wonderland already, we're talking about December 19th. So again, keep those dates in mind. I just want to point out real quick, one more thing. We had mentioned quickly before, we're going out to bid for the turfing of the ball field down at Blackbrook Large. Again, something that really needs to be done. Every time it rains, we do have other ball fields, they get washed out. We're stuck on the sidelines, stuck in the dugout for days sometimes. And this is another project that's coming to fruition. We have another project also, the splash pad at Bee Meadow, hopefully going out to bid next week. I was just talking to Dave Leo down in engineering and waiting on a couple more things. Within the next week or two, that should be going out to bid too. So again, a couple good projects. And I also want to commend engineering also for getting the the Brickyard field complete. We had our ribbon cutting last month, and it was terrific. It's been a huge success. So again, thank you all for helping facilitate that. All right,
Thank you, Mike. Is that it?
That was a quick, I can go on. I got 2 pages here.
Should have used the timer on
Be a
him.
brief version.
Whatever you want to do.
Used the timer on him.
No, but again, thank you.
You know, before I read a comment into the record regarding one of our resolutions, I'd like to talk also about time with the engineering department. With our turf fields, although many people are applauding them, many people were not that enthusiastic about getting turf fields. However, we do a lot of work in Hanover Township with the Mental Health Association and a lot of programs for mental health, mental wellness, and well-being. In Hanover Township, if we get rain for a day or two, it's typically 3 or 4 days you can't be on the fields. When you can't be on the fields, those youngsters are in their houses playing video games, watching TV, playing on the computer, and eating food that we'd rather not have them eat. If they can get right out on the field and run around with their friends, you can't even put a dollar value on that. So that's another reason why, these guys are starting to do a really good job, all hands on deck, and it's benefiting our families right away.
And the new field, the Brickyard, it's a multi-purpose.
Yep.
So it's soccer, it's football, lacrosse, and we can also line it for other sports in the future if we need to. So again, we're trying to get the most bang for our buck. And that can play up to full-size soccer, men's soccer can play on that. So
I think it's fantastic.
Great amenity.
And thank you, Mike, for championing that. I have a lot to update the public on, but I'm going to focus on one issue tonight because it's very important to us here in Hanover Township, and it was Resolution 163, 2024. I'll read it into the minutes, and then I will give it to you, and we will release it to the media tomorrow because this is very important. The Township of Hanover steadfastly supports affordable housing opportunities in this township. The township has, however, been dramatically impacted by the third round of affordable housing rules, and we were able to absolutely become compliant. The recent legislation was adopted without any information, studies, or cross-acceptance of our municipalities. We wanted the opportunity to make sure all our voices were heard, and they were not. So there are issues and questions that were simply not answered by our legislators. Hanover is responsible for satisfying its portion of our regional obligation. That is divided up between municipalities. We are concerned that under the new law, various municipalities, including large cities, are exempt from contributing to the regional obligation, increasing the total for our towns, such as Hanover Township, which are not exempt. While the township supports affordable housing, we do not support high-density development and the 5 additional market residential units that are inevitably accompany each one of these affordable units. The purpose of joining this recent litigation is to ensure that every municipality throughout the state of New Jersey contributes its fair share to this regional obligation, just as Hanover has and will continue to do so. The litigation represents a small issue from the township's perspective. It's about making sure everyone contributes in a fair and proportionate manner. Over the past 3 years, the township has preserved 137 affordable units that have already been built, funded a program for rehabilitation of units in need of repair, and created additional affordable housing opportunities for the construction of low and moderate income households, amongst other actions. The township has provided for affordable housing opportunities, while at the same time avoiding additional market units for residential development. We also have commitments for the construction of 60 more age-restricted senior affordable housing units, which does not include any market units in such a plan. It is critical that our voice in Hanover Township is heard, just as it is critical that we maintain compliance and work in good faith with fair share housing to provide realistic affordable housing opportunities. However, we do not want the new rules and regulations to place a disproportionate responsibility on the Township of Hanover. This case is not about putting one town or group against another. It is about fairness and inclusion of all municipalities. Therefore, we support this litigation and ensure that we will hopefully avoid unfair impact on our infrastructure, our population, and our school systems. That is an explanation on that resolution, why it is so important to us and we are here for you, and we will fight to make Hanover Township as good as it could be and as fair as it could be for everyone. That's my comment, guys. So with that being said, motion to adjourn?
Nope. Open to public.
Motion to open to the public.
Would anyone from the public, could I have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right. Would anyone from the public like to address the governing body on any issue? If so, please take the podium, state your name, your address, and you have 4 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Susanna Restrepo, and I have several questions for the governing body. A lot of them having to do with the road safety in town. So, like I said, several questions. One of them being there is I think Morris Township Mayor invited local mayors and elected officials to talk about complete streets on September 19th, and I was wondering if any of you were going to be going to that meeting?
I am going to be going to that meeting, and I have a little more information about that initiative when you're done with your questions, yes.
Okay, that's good. And if you're also interested or curious, I believe it is NJTPA that is doing a webinar, a free webinar on how to craft an effective complete streets policy, which I might have sent over by email, but I'm not sure if the township committee is forwarded the emails. So something else that I forwarded by email is an invitation for the National Week Without Challenge. This challenge is an initiative for elected officials and other decision makers to get a sense of what 30% of the population experiences when they're trying to get around without a car. The Week Without Driving will be September 30th to October 6th, where where the decision makers that are committed to it will try to get to their regular routines without a car. If this is too hard, we suggest maybe even coming to one day, getting, around town without a car, just to see how, I guess, eye-opening it is for people who are too young, too old, cannot drive due to disabilities, can't afford a car, how they can get around. So I was wondering if any of you would like to make the commitment. It is a national initiative. Last year, there were 300 elected officials and decision makers committed to it who were able to gain valuable insights. So I was also wondering if that email got forwarded to you, or if this is your first time hearing about this?
Yeah, I didn't see the email.
It's the first time hearing about it.
Okay. I sent it to Mr. Giorgio, Ms. DeGiorgio, and Shelby Snow. I'm not sure if the emails I send them get forwarded to you.
I don't remember seeing it, to be honest with you. Do you want to resend it?
Yeah. It came from the email for Walk by Hanover, which is the advocacy organization that I'm a founder of.
What was the name of that group? I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Walk by Hanover.
Okay, if you can forward it to us, we'll make sure the township committee gets it.
Okay, yeah. But yes, that was all, and I am curious to hear more about the Complete Streets policy from Mayor.
Yeah, well, first of all, Hanover Township, 11 years ago, created the Hanover Township School and Park Traffic Safety Advisory Committee. This governing body made 61 improvements in 3 years and was recognized by New Jersey DOT. Our work is continuous, and with our work, I was approached by the county to see if I would want to participate in a Safe Streets program, and that was on the county level. Our dear friend from Morris Township, who works with us in a lot of initiatives now, great lady, she asked me to be in a roundtable discussion next Thursday night. I asked her if this was part of what the county is doing or in addition to what the county was doing. They said that they were working to put together independent recommendations to make to the county. So not only will I be sitting in on that meeting next Thursday night, bringing to the roundtable discussion everything we've been doing in Hanover Township, that meeting is to prepare recommendations to go to the county. We're in constant touch with the county, and Ron Francioli serves on the Transportation Committee on the county. So we are very, very active and involved, and they are utilizing our work as resources for a lot of our work. And we have made quite a few improvements. We always need to do more, and we're always listening. Ronald Reagan once said, if you're the smartest person in the room, you have the wrong people in the room. We want to learn, we want to hear on everything that we may be able to make work in Hanover Township to make our residents safer.
That's great, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public would like to be heard?
Hi, Victoria Benson, 125 Malapartis Road. I brought to the committee months and months and months ago, going on close to 2 years ago, with Mr. Messina, about the issues on Malapartis Boulevard and requests for road improvements. Where are we at with planning road improvements? What has been approved? Because we have seen nothing but digital smiley faces on our roads.
Jerry, do you want me to handle the speed bump one and you can handle Malapartis Boulevard?
Sure.
Or you want me to handle everything?
No. I'll jump in.
We went out and, again, Mr. Giorgio, we had an incredible engineering firm go out and look at the area behind Mount View Road School. We appropriated $125,000 for our first leg of speed humps, bumps, or tables, whatever one it's going to be. I know there's three variations of that mechanism. When it comes to Boulevard and when it comes to Malapartis, we put the digital signs in. Jerry, we talked about the condition of the road and why it might or might not be a good idea to put the humps in right away. Can you take it from here?
Sure, I think the installation of the speed humps was going to be in a phased approach, and just because availability of funds, it was identified that we were going to address Mountain Avenue and Summit initially, and that is going out to bid, or it went out to bid, it's going out to rebid. And then speed humps, that was going to be a consideration, then the next phase on Malapartis and Boulevard. So that is an option that is still open. We would hire the same consultants to review those streets.
Who are the consultants?
We used Colliers.
Okay, so.
So
And,
that is something that will be looked at the next budget cycle.
and isn't this the budget cycle now?
No, well, typically that starts at the end of this year. Budgets are, typically reviewed towards the end of the year, beginning of the year, and then our budget work sessions are held in February. Typically, budgets are then approved the following month.
So we've been actively discussing this for almost 2 years.
Right, and we took the first step this year to install speed humps on, as I said, Mountain.
We took our first big step behind Mount View Road School in the last several months, and you are 1A. So this is going to be addressed in 2025, and it's going to come up in that budget cycle. The only reason we were able to make a move now behind our schools and to be consistent with school and park traffic safety is Joe Giorgio went through years and years and years and was able to come up with enough money to make this improvement in this budget year. Typically, we can't find money to make improvements like this.
And the request for the traffic light at Ridgedale and Malapartis to be retimed,
Yes, that's being looked at with the county also.
but that's been going on for years also, and we're still...
Not years, I think, not years, that's not.
Well, my initial complaints were years ago, but I finally started getting the ear a year and a half ago. We're having issues, huge issues. We're taking our life in our hands trying to make a left-hand turn onto Malapartis from Ridgedale when you're coming from Route 10. It's bad. It really is bad. There is no sight distance whatsoever for us to make that turn safely. I've sat through 5 cycles because I refuse to try to cut across traffic that I can't see coming from the right lane. The complaints to our entire neighborhood is identical. They are still requesting that left-hand turn signal be implemented. Last year around this time, I was told that that light was going to be put back to the original timing cycle prior to some storm that we hypothesized had knocked it out, and set it to a preset that is completely inappropriate for the area. And then I was told that they were going to wait because they just didn't feel like doing it again because they knew they were going to have to do it again. So that's not really, it doesn't go down very well when you're told last year that it was going to at least be put back to the one that was studied, tested many years ago, was working until something knocked it out. That should really be implemented. We really shouldn't, someone's time being wasted shouldn't take precedent to the safety of the public. And if you have to go back out and retime it after all the studies and everything else, then so be it. That's what you have to do. In the meantime, our entire neighborhood is being flooded because the cemetery keeps raising their property, and they've been doing it for decades. And I've been working with Jerry trying to rectify the devaluing of our property because we have literal river running through our yard now. And I have footage if you would like to see what I'm talking about because people think I'm exaggerating, but there is a literal river every single time we have a rainstorm. Everybody in the neighborhood is inundated with water. Many have spent a lot of money out of their pockets to try to put in different devices to try to keep the water from their basements from flooding their yards, to keep their yards so that they can use them. Last year, we could not go in our backyard from August to March. We had a tree company come in August to try to finish the work. They couldn't come back till March. The engineering department came up with a way for me to divert the water to the road between our properties because not only did the cemetery raise up multiple times and is continuing, the neighbor on the corner of the cemetery raised up because they were tired of their backyard. So then the next person decided that they were going to raise up. And my 85-year-old parents were caught unaware of what everybody was doing and took the brunt of it. So we've done many renovations, we've paid for everything, we're doing everything the engineering department has asked us, but now I was so successful diverting the water towards Malapartis, it's overrunning the road and going into a very litigious neighbor across the street who started screaming at Jerry the other day, or a couple weeks ago, to the point where it was very uncomfortable just standing there because they were screaming through my speaker on my phone. And I can't really control, the yelling, but I would expect that Jerry would call me back after 6 messages are left to tell me how it was going with the cemetery being asked to put back in the creek that they filled in many years ago, the natural creek that ran from Ridgedale to the boulevard.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you. I want to learn more about your flooding because Hanover Township, and I can say this with confidence, is an absolute leader in flooding. We are the chief agency with a 6-town shared services agreement we put together. Tell you 3 things about our waterways. They do not run. They are loaded with trees. The embankments have collapsed, and they don't dredge. Rivers used to be 4 to 6 feet deep. Now they're 9 inches deep. Therefore, they overflow the banks, the trees fall in the rivers, and they create dams all over the place. With the first $1.5 million we got from the federal government, and we're going out to bid, we are going to de-snag, which means they're going to pull the trees out of the river, and the rivers are going to flow. The water has nowhere to go. Now, the storm we had 2 weeks ago was 5 inches in 90 minutes. There's nothing that can prepare any of us for that. My front lawn was a lake. My front lawn has never been a lake. However, I want to learn about your specific area, and if a ditch was filled in, I want to look at that myself with our engineering firm, because what we have to do is create the opportunity for water to run. And if you go to any bridge in New Jersey, You look on either side, there's probably a tree laying in the water. New Jersey has neglected their rivers for 60 years, and shame on some of the bigwigs that turned a blind eye to it. But we're not turning a blind eye to it anymore. I want to learn more about your water. As far as the traffic, you're front and center with us. And the last point about your traffic signal is former Chief Mark Roddy, Hanover Township PD, Mark Roddy. I complained about the light on Woodfield and Whippany Road, which is my street, so many times. He went and sat there himself. He said after 7 minutes, he said, "Hell with it," and he ran the red light. So these lights do have to be adjusted. Unfortunately, mine's on a county road, so that was another layer of waiting. So that's very frustrating to me too. But I want to get the specifics on that water, and if a brook or a creek was filled in, I want to know where it is. I want to see it myself.
Well, the water runs from Ridgedale across to the boulevard. So much so that anytime a business was put in, industrial-sized sewer drains were put in and huge swells all over those areas because they knew that the water was running towards that way. The cemetery is filled in so much because they brought up 4 feet and filled the creek in. And it ran out to a specific area of the boulevard where there was a gigantic pipe that was installed and a whole bunch of sewer drains for, water drains, basins, were installed in anticipation that that's where the water was going. But when they did that, they redirected all the water towards all the homes on Malapartis, to the backs of our properties, flowing towards our homes. So it's coming from the mountain, coming down. It never ran over Ridgedale, so it must have been an underground stream that popped up in the cemetery when the cemetery was all woods in the back. And then when I went back there recently, I found the top of a 5-foot fence, chain link fence, buried. And I was standing on the top of the level of the cemetery property where they just keep filling in. They just keep filling in and pushing towards the boulevard. And I was looking down at the top of a 5-foot chain link fence. That's how high. So they'd come up 7 feet.
Now, I don't want to be the heavy here.
Yeah.
But that beep over there was your 4 minutes. But I will give you my personal cell phone number.
Yeah.
And we will take a field trip
Okay.
to your house and look at this the flood issue you're having.
I have it on a video if you would like to see it. If you don't want to make that personal trip,
I would like to see it, and we are currently making a documentary, which we were advised not to do. But guess what? I want people to see the conditions of our waterways, and I want to understand why they were allowed to get to be in this terrible position. And if water can't flow, it's going to back up and destroy property. But I'm gonna have to cut you short, but I'll give you my personal cell phone number before I leave. And are you good with that?
That's fine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Does anyone else like to be, would anyone else like to be heard?
So I'm Marhan, I'm the junior engineer here for the Township of Hanover. Marhan Shams, I'm the junior engineer here for the Township of Hanover. Marhan, yes. Shams. So I understand the Township Administration has recommended outsourcing the engineering work for the specialized knowledge and experience. However, I would like to raise some important concerns about this decision, which I believe affects not just me, but the Township and community as a whole. Having engineers who work directly for the township ensures accountability, quicker response times, and a deeper understanding of the community needs. Local engineers like myself, we have a vested interest in the well-being of the township and residents. By keeping jobs local in the township, we are supporting local families and ensuring our local government has staff who are directly invested in the future of the community. Outsourcing removes these local ties, and we lose the chance to create more local jobs and economic growth. Outsourcing also, I believe, involves hidden costs such as coordination, additional oversight, and potential revisions or delays due to the misunderstanding or lack of knowledge about the local infrastructure. When the township outsources work, I believe it requires legal reviews, contract amendments, and ongoing monitoring to make sure that the terms in the township standards are met, which will require more time. As you guys were saying, you want less time, but it will require more time and administrative resources. But with in-house engineers, the township can avoid these inefficiencies, ensuring that the projects are done more effectively. Another important point I wanted to raise is, as a dedicated engineer for the township, I am on approved family leave under my legal rights, and this recommendation to outsource was made during my leave. I'm a mother of 3 who had twins, and I work very hard to provide for my kids, and now I feel like I'm losing my job because I decided to take my legal rights. I don't think this recommendation happened as a coincidence when I decided to take my family leave, and I feel like it's important that all township employees feel secure in exercising their legal rights without fear of repercussions. Furthermore, I was told that the last junior engineer would be the one separated, which is me. But I was hired at the same time as another junior engineer, and it was only a month apart. And it was because of delays from like human resources. So I question the fairness of determining the seniority in this case, and that's why I want to ask about that. And I feel like instead of outsourcing, the township could invest in specialized training for the current engineers. This would ensure the township retains its engineering team while still addressing the need for specialized knowledge. I respectfully ask the members of the township and the committee to carefully reconsider this recommendation and explore solutions that keep our engineering work within the township. Outsourcing may seem like an answer, but it risks sacrificing quality, local accountability, and jobs. I also invite the residents and the stakeholders present here today to voice their concerns and support in keeping our engineering work local with people who truly understand and care about this township. And I just believe we can find a better way forward that can benefit the township, its residents, and its workers. That's it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your comments. We appreciate it. And Joe, do you have anything to add? Or we...
Nothing.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dina Atkinson, Cedar Knolls. The first thing I want to say is that I was happy to see that we are joining in the affordable housing litigation, because while affordable housing is obviously important, overbuilding is, as you're aware, not a good idea. So thank you for that. And my question also is, do you know what the timeline is for the speed humps on Mountain?
On
Mountain Ave, behind Mount View.
Well, what's interesting is we went out to bid, and no one responded to the bid. They picked up the bid packages, but didn't bring back their quotes for us to choose a vendor. So Jerry, was it today or tomorrow you're putting it out again?
No, it's already been advertised.
It's already been advertised?
Well, it's been sent to the papers. It takes a couple days for it to actually hit the newspaper. It'll probably hit the newspaper advertised on Monday. So the idea is to have the bid opening for the next township committee meeting, have it be able to make an award at the next.
In worst case scenario, if once again, we don't have a vendor, then our professionals can negotiate with a vendor in good faith, and we can get the speed bumps put in. But the money's ready to go. We're ready to go. We have the areas marked out and selected. We wanted to have them in by the end of September. So this is probably going to push it back, what, Jerry, another 3 weeks? Month?
Yeah, hopefully by the end of October is really the time frame that I anticipate.
But we're just waiting for a vendor to bid, and then we can hire that vendor.
And do you have to wait for the vendor to meet with the people about the locations of the speed bumps, or is that prior?
No, that would be after. That would be typically like what we determine is like a pre-construction meeting. So we'll go over every speed bump location with them, and I know that we've invited the residents to also provide some comment, because some of the speed bumps location can be moved, not far, but can be slightly moved to, they feel that's impacting their property in a way that we would entertain that conversation with everyone.
Okay.
And like I said before about finance, this township committee, in lightning speed, appropriated the money. We're just dying to spend it now. We want to get the speed bumps in, am I right, Mike? So we're moving as fast and as hard as we can, and we're very disappointed that we couldn't award that tonight.
Well, I don't care how fast you move, because I don't like the speed bumps anyway. And my other question was with the reduction of the engineering, the person that's losing their job, is that, I know they said effective immediately, but do they get time to find a new job, or they're just done that day?
I don't want to comment on that, to be honest with you. It's very sensitive. I would rather not comment on that right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Seeing none.
Wait, hang on.
Yes, sir.
Never mind, it'll be brief. Just really, it's more just Andrew Dutton, editor, Hanover Eagle. Just a couple clarification points on some things that were read quickly, or read
Set the
into the
timer for
record.
this guy, Krista.
See what?
I said, set the timer for this guy, Krista.
Okay, 1 second. I'm over. Can you confirm that the Resolution 163-2024, which you read your statement, Mr. Mayor, the litigation that you're joining, can you just confirm that's the one that I heard that Montvale is leading and putting together?
Yes.
It is that one?
Yes.
All right, I'm just curious as someone who writes for the taxpayers of the town, one of these that was part of the consent resolution was the authorization of a chief of police to issue a purchase order for a Chevrolet Silverado 1500 four-wheel drive short crew vehicle in the amount not to exceed $59,513. Is this vehicle going to replace an existing vehicle, or do you know?
Joe?
It's an additional vehicle to help the police department, especially when we have unforeseeable situations, like we did with the storm on the 18th of August, in order to move barricades and other equipment. So the police need the capability of moving quickly when you have flooding, for example, and they do need a second vehicle to help them out.
Okay, you said a second vehicle. Do they already have a pickup truck of some type? Okay, so this is just another type, okay. Can you explain just in layman's terms for maybe just a few moments, I looked at the MSRP for this car. It's a little high, the MSRP, your price is a little higher than the MSRP I'm seeing online. Does it get tricked out with, how does this thing work?
This is under a co-op.
Okay, can you explain that a little bit?
So a cooperative is an organization which is formed by a county or several municipalities, and they have a lead agency which goes out to bid on different items, such as police vehicles, and then they award the bid to the lowest responsive bidder.
Okay. And you're bound to go through that
If we want to purchase through a co-op, we can do that,
Okay.
or we can go out to bid ourselves.
Okay, great. And then, Committeeman Faramaska, you mentioned, you said the paving plan for Upper Cedar Knolls is going to be done September 16th. Can you just list those streets for me?
It's the week of September 16th.
The week
So
of.
plan is to do milling and paving on Monday, Tuesday.
All right.
Monday, Tuesday milling, and then paving the latter part of the week.
And can you just review specifically which streets that were? You know?
Poplar.
Yeah, I think what may best assist you is if I can contact you.
I'll give you my card.
direct
That's
schedule.
fine. I'll give you my
Poplar,
card.
Sycamore.
Yeah, I'll give you my card. If you could just tell which streets will be done that week. And that's it, thank you.
And there's one more road that's pretty important that made it to the agenda tonight. If you look at 26-2024.
26- yes, I see that.
In the last storm, which was 5 inches of rain in 90 minutes, a very, very already compromised street, Crescent Drive, was basically destroyed.
Okay, and this is in reaction to that?
That is in reaction to that because it's in such bad shape, we had to pivot and do something almost as an emergency.
Remind me, the date of that storm was what, August?
Guys, you remember the date of that storm?
Was it the 18th?
Was the date?
August 18th?
August 18th.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Hey, did he still have more time?
No, I put the clock away.
Okay.
Time to go.
Seeing none, hearing none?
Motion to close. So moved.
Second? Oh, second.
Thank you.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you for the education. Yeah, that was how the airport operates. Never knew all that. Box on the right, box on the left.
My legs are stiff.
I just thought they landed them. Parking car, just park.
It's like fighting for a parking spot, right? Whoever gets there first.